Hey guys, want to bring you another NBA video. Just watched NBA Clutch City of the Houston Rockets. This was a documentary done on NBA TV and thought this was done very well. So just a recap. It's been almost 20 years for the Houston Rockets since they won those back-to-back championships. And some interesting facts. Some of it, I remember some of it, but not all of it at the time when it happened. I just thought it was very interesting knowing the early history of Hakeem Olajuwon, because obviously, if this gives you a little timeline, this was before my time a little bit when he got drafted. So obviously, I can't remember exactly his personality and everything, but it was very interesting based on how they said everything that started with Hakeem and built up with Tom Janovich. It's like these two guys came together at the right time and kept building upon each other on a championship team to make Clutch City. So I thought it was a very well done documentary, and some interesting facts. Some other facts was the players that they were able to bring around. The trade for Clyde Drexler and Ola Strop, a million times everyone would have done that trade, because you got all-star of Clyde Drexler for Ola Strop. That didn't make sense, really, I thought. And then you had I didn't know that, I guess that championship team that won it had a big head like Kenny Smith, Vern Maxwell, some of the big guys there. Robert Horry, etc. And so just to see the light, how they all of a sudden start coming together and gelling with each other, and how Clyde Drexler helped them win the second one really bad, because, well, he didn't want to get blamed for them not winning a second one. So I thought that was interesting. I would have liked if they could have showed how they did not repeat the third time or fourth, or going for back to the finals, because they still had some good years with Hakeem and Clyde, but couldn't get past the Utah Jazz when they had Barkley and Pippen. So yeah, it would have been interesting if they touched more on that. So didn't remember Vern Davis leaving after game one of the second run of the playoffs, or pretty much quit on the team. It was kind of nice to see the reunion that they had. It seems like everybody got along in that one room and reunited with the two championship teams. So that's one reason why most Houston Rockets fans or most people that watch NBA thought the Houston Rockets could repeat it this year, or win a championship, based on the pedigree and the formula that was done with the Houston Rockets when they won back-to-back. Because if you could get Dwight Howard, pretty decent passer, but he needs to know how to pass out of the double team a lot faster. When those guys collapse, you got James Harden outside, and you got some other shooters that could hit the deep ball with Ariza. Patrick Beverley could hit it from time to time. Then you got, well, I wouldn't say Terrence Jones is consistent, but if you get that stretch forward, then you got all those players that could make them dynamic and playing very well at that high range. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting if they could get that out of the way, as Clutch City 2 could have been built. But obviously they couldn't beat Golden State Warriors. Their hit story of this year was very similar, where they came back on the Clippers, like the championship back-to-back, where they came back against the Phoenix Suns when they were down 3-1, and they gave up big leads and stuff like that. So I thought that was very interesting in that similar aspect. But I just think this documentary had some things that they could have probably added. It was only an hour and a half long, but probably less than that because of the commercials. So I would say it's probably more like an hour 15 minutes when you take out the commercials. I think it could have been expanded more with 2 hours if you talked about the after effects too. I know they probably wanted to end it on a high note, but you kind of have to say, hey, why was this not working after they won those 2 championships? They also did bring up the Chicago Bulls on how they won it when Michael Jordan was gone. Just remember the second one, Michael Jordan was already back, so they didn't even get out of the East beating the Orlando Magic. So can't say anything about that. That wasn't the Houston Rockets' fault. But the first one that they won, sure, Jordan was gone already, but what they brought up was that, hey, when Jordan was around, Houston Rockets of Hakeem Olajuwon beat it and owned the Chicago Bulls. So, and especially Phil Jackson never liked to double team, so that's one thing you have to consider, that this is where the Houston Rockets, if they met the Chicago Bulls, they could have probably beat them in the finals. It's more about matchups. That's why when they play against the Seattle Sonics and the Utah Jazz on their second two-peat, they match well against them. They did not have good answers on big men, but that's why sometimes they struggle against the Knicks, because they had, when Ewing was playing, if you put a good big man, which the West had a lot of big men, if you think about it, they had David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Dikembe Mutombo. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of very interesting in that sense, that it could have probably been interesting if the Rockets made it to the third championship and met the Chicago Bulls, how would it have turned out. So go ahead and like, share, comment, subscribe if you got to watch this documentary and what you thought of this Clutch City documentary. Thanks.